Hi, everyone. Welcome to Poetry and Prose. Thank you so much for coming out and taking time out of your day to be with us and celebrate this new poet on the local scene. His name is Keeron Isaac, and his first book that's making a big splash. I've seen him all over social media. He was featured in The Guardian, Poetry, and I had a great opportunity to sit down with this book one afternoon, and I literally devoured it in one sitting. It hit on everything from life and struggles and love, and it's clothed in our local Trini culture. And I am honored to have just a short time to chat with you and to experience your work through the voices of others. How are you today, Karen? Thank you for being with us.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited. I was actually so excited when I told you this when you guys reached out. I was like, oh, that's nice. So happy to be able to be featured this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to talking and discussing with all of you.
It's really nice to have you here. Poetry and Prose, every month we try to feature an author, and we've had many talented authors throughout this year. This is the brainchild of Mutilal, and
Nice.
it's really been an awesome experience. And I love the fact that we're nearing the end of the year and I'm able to feature you because
That's
I've seen you
awesome.
on, yeah, I saw you on Facebook and I've been following your little blurbs that you put out there and stuff like that. So it's really nice to see you.
Appreciate
And I know
that.
you were at another recent reading um, that Mutilal and Miranda, another Poetry and Prose member, was at. So, and you gave away two of your books there.
Right. Yeah.
So you made a splash there as well. But take us through your journey. I'd really like to spend this time that we have together to go through your writing journey. So let's start from the beginning. How was it that you came about going from studying medicine and being a doctor to being a poet?
Right. Right. Yeah, because it's really dissimilar, right? Yeah, people are always surprised when they find that out. So, yeah, so I actually started on the medical route, but I always loved writing. It's so cathartic to me, and it comes so natural. So apart from medicine, when I was younger, I grew up asthmatic. So, my mom would try to keep me indoors, I guess, to save me from myself. And she would encourage me to write. And if I'm being very honest, I didn't really like it at first. I didn't really like reading. I was like, oh, this is such a chore. But my mom, I feel like her and my friends' parents were like in coalition. They all bought me like Hardy Boys books, and they never bought the same one twice. I feel like they had to be in communication with each other. So I actually have about 40 Hardy Boy books. I want to finish the collection someday just to say I finished it. So that really started me off, and then seven and Team Five and all these others and Enid Blyton. So that was in my I guess my younger years. And yeah, I even wasn't that great at writing essays in in primary school. But I remember one time my teacher used my essay as an example, and it wasn't bad. It was just short, and I was like, oh my God, I don't ever want to be used as the example of what not to do again. So I was like, okay, I need to perfect my writing. And from then on, started getting like the scores went up, and then before I knew it, I got like total in creative writing for SEA, creative writing. I had a perfect score for that section, and then I moved into high school, which Hillsview College has all the sciences, but still there was literature and language, which I loved. So it was just amazing to still have like for me, literature was something literature I didn't really feel like studying. It's just I just reading the book and regurgitating it to the exam. And then I moved on to pre-med, and again, English followed. There was an English course, which I loved. And everyone else was like, why is he so happy to see an English course? But through the pandemic, my school career got a little bit derailed. I ended up losing my granddad stage for prostate cancer, so I was taking care of him. And then the pandemic borders closed, and I was trying to transfer schools, and it was a whole lot happening, and I felt like I'd lost my career, and then I lost my granddad. So I was like, what is happening? Who am I? And my mom was like, why didn't you do something you love? And she really encouraged me. And she didn't. It didn't click right away, but my mom repeats herself. So eventually, it all clicked that I wanted to go back to this love of writing. Around when I was 10, when I got a little better at writing, I figured one day I would release a poetry book. But I didn't know how and I didn't know when. And flash forward to the pandemic and everything just aligned. And I just felt I walked into my purpose without even realizing. So it felt great that after all these challenges and such a very unusual journey, it landed to be an author. So like, okay, at least I accomplished something I was wanting to do.
Well, the stars aligned. Now, here
Yeah,
you are in the pandemic. Your medical journey has, put a little halt in it for now.
yeah,
And your mom is telling you that, well, you should publish. But so you're sitting there and you have your work. It's any
yeah,
poet and author, and know many people in the room will understand the colossal job of pulling together your work and in a readable format. How did you find
yeah,
that thread? How did you select what you had? Is it all new pieces or are these pieces written from when you were in school?
right.
How did you go about that process of
So
gathering your
the
work and
yeah,
collating it into a book?
so the first poem is I Am Jazz, and I wrote that one in communication studies piece in school. So my communication studies teacher at Hillview, Miss Sasha Ali, shout out to her. I feel like she knew I was really good at poetry before I knew. Because when I wrote that piece, I mean, I would write my poems at home in secrecy, but I never really like I don't like walk around with school saying, hey, I can write poetry. So we had to write a creative piece to go along with the I, and I wrote that piece. And she's like, Keeron, you really have a gift then. And I was like, you think so? She's like, this poem has been so excited, let's work on it. And we fleshed it out together. And I was like, wow, I was like, okay. And then, so I was like, I knew that one day if I ever published a piece, I have to include that. And then my
Mhm.
friend, she also needed help with her IA, and she had a family situation at home. There was a piece called I Am Fatherless about her and her dad and, him stepping out of her life. And I wrote that, I helped her write that for her project, and her project, she like topped the class with like the research part of it. And her mom was also a family friend who knew my grandmother. And she reminded me that my grandmother herself was a poet. So I was like, wow. So, like all of these, I had to include those two pieces, and I may have included one or two other old ones, but all the others were fresh that I wrote over the pandemic. Like
Oh,
when I decided to write, yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna set a goal for the new year because I would have been in school, but let me set a writing goal. I had all these topics, and I was like, let me write based on these topics, and inspiration would just hit at different parts. I'd be at the beach, I'd see something, I'd be like, let me write that down. I went into like full writer mode. I was in a maxi. I was like, that looks good. Let me write that down. So that's it kind of came about quite organically, which I think is the best for me to come about.
I love how you went about it in such a way where you set yourself a deadline though, because it
Yeah,
allowed you to be able to pull the collection together.
yeah.
Now you have your collection. How did you decide to publish? How are you published? Were you published, self-published, traditionally published? What's your publishing journey like?
Right. So I contacted a few publishing houses, and if I'm being honest, like the first two never responded. And then the third one, I mean, I mean, they gave me a price, which we agreed to. And then they told me if I broke down the price, I could like get the editing done elsewhere and then it would be cheaper. So I sourced an editor and all of that, and I came back to them. And then they were like, oh no, that's not the agreement. You have to do everything with us to get the discount. So I was like, they went back on their word. But I mean, I was talking to the CEO of the publishing house. So I'm like, who am I to tell him that that's not what he said? So I just counted my loss and I walked away. Because I really thought I would get published with the publishing house. And I was a little discouraged. And I started like there were like some other authors who did these series. where my editor invited me to one. It's called the self-publishing route. And I learned that you really need a publishing house. You could self-publish, which I was like, what? I could do that. So I got like that motivation again. I was like, okay, I could do this. Well, not on my own, but not on a big scale with a publishing house. And I found out there's so many popular authors, well, in Trinidad now doing their thing, and they're self-published. So I just ended up using Printtree, which is a print house, which is so much more cost effective. And I love when things line up. So it's like poetry printed by Printtree. I was like, God, that has to be ordained. So I got so excited. And yeah, everything just came together. So they printed it. I got my editor, and then my friend, she did the cover work. So it felt like a family thing. And then my cousin, he did the graphics on the inside. So he did the overlay between the art that my friend drew and then like inserting them into each page and that kind of thing. So and I'm such like a team player. It felt good that it was like people I love on the project with me. So it felt like it's like okay, it's my project, but like we did this together and we overcame all the odds. So it felt like a success, after all of that.
I love that. After getting
Yeah,
that, setback, you took your publishing
yeah,
journey in your own hands. And
yeah,
luckily, locally, it is affordable. And
yeah.
the public library as well offers us a lot of assistance in terms of getting your number and
Right.
ISBN number and everything put
Yeah,
together.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
that's one of the things I love about poetry and prose too, because we're a collective of poets and authors and writers. And some of us have been, like Cassie, for example, he's been in the Trinidad writing community for years and years and years.
right.
And I know here we love to share our experience, we love to share what we did.
Yeah,
And so it's good to see that you're reaching out and you didn't let that one
yeah,
publisher set you back.
yeah,
So now that
definitely.
you decided to go for the self-publishing route, and this is where I found you because I have my bachelor's in marketing, and this is what I first appreciated about you was how you kept popping up on my page. And I'm like, this boy is putting work into his marketing. I love it. And I kept hearing your name here, there, and everywhere. And we had two authors that were going to another event, and your name popped up
Uh,
again. And I'm like, whoa, I need to reach out to him
oh my
and
God, that's
see.
good.
Yeah, so tell me about that. Were you just as, I feel as though you're really a left brain person in terms of um, just
Like,
setting your deadlines and going about the writing process in a structured way, a doctor like way. I feel I feel you may be a doctor yet. Did you
yes.
approach, because being self-published, you really have to wear all the hats. You have to be the creative.
Yeah,
You have to be your own
yeah,
accountant. You have to be your own editor
yeah.
and
That's
handle,
like the
even if you
upside and the
outsource.
downside all
Yeah.
together.
Even if you outsource these things to vendors, you still have to have that hat on your head to ensure that it's being
Yeah,
done correctly. Because this is the
yeah,
end of the day, your name is going on the book. It's
yeah,
your name they remember.
exactly. Yeah,
So, how did you approach your marketing? Are you on Amazon? I know you're selling locally as well.
yeah,
How did you
yes,
approach that? Let's.
yes. So I'm on Amazon. I was like, you know what? I felt like I had lost so much in the pandemic. I told myself, at first I was a little skeptical. I was like, you know what, Keeron? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So put yourself everywhere. So I was like, the moment time, you have the world at your fingertips. Amazon will get into a different market. So I put it on Amazon. And so far, I mean, Amazon, the sales so far have been like my friends Wendy, which is still good because it's like, otherwise they wouldn't have been really able to get. It would have been a little harder. So I remember as soon as it went on Amazon, like 2 days later, two of my friends messaged me with copies of the book and they're in the US. And I was like, I was just, I was so speechless. I was like, first of all, thanks for your support. Second of all, that's so cool to see, like, because I like to shop on Amazon, but like, they buy my book on Amazon. So that was pretty cool. And it's just something, I just have to like put myself out there. And I was like, okay, let me just try to put myself on Amazon. It's a little tricky, but I got my cousin to help me format it and I did a little bit of research. Um, so like even the marketing aspect, because even I realized like even booking media interviews it was a little difficult at first because I felt like all the emails and stuff that they have, I don't know if they actually work because they wouldn't respond to me. So I was like, oh my God. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe they don't want to hear my story. So I have a friend he's really good with media for he has a company and he does all these media. So I asked him who books his media. So he put me on to his friend called Dominique, and she used to work in media. So I paid her like a small fee, and she got me. What she does is that she's kind of like a PR agent. So she would help you get
Yeah.
into different shows and that kind of thing. So that's how I first got on like monetization and one of the show, which was so cool. And then gets into the newspapers now. First one, my friend got an article in the Express. So I asked him, I was like, how did you get here? I've been trying so hard to get to the Express. He told me, look for this name on LinkedIn and add Kimberly. So I added her, and I was like, I have nothing to lose by messaging. I was either she responds or she doesn't. And she was so lovely. She was like, first of all, she's like, Kieran, I love your story. She's like, second of all, I'm going to talk to my editor and we'll get back to you. And I was like, okay, maybe I wouldn't hear back. And I heard back from them, and it just kind of solidified that I'm not a shy person, but it really solidified to me to just put myself out there. Like
Mhm.
sometimes I tell myself no before it even happens, and I'm just like, just put yourself out there. And then I tried the sponsored ad because I tried it once in the past and I felt like it didn't get any traction. So I was like, I'm going to try it again. And this time, I'm not sure if it translated into sales, but it did translate into like a lot of buzz on the page. So like that's how I found you. And well, you found me. And then I found another Caribbean author group and he shared my work there. And then the Guardian reached out to me from the sponsored ad. I was like, wow. I was like, it's interesting how these things work out because
Yeah.
I wanted to be in the newspaper, but I didn't think that my sponsored ad would lead me back to the newspaper. So I was like, wow, that's interesting. And then the ad itself was created by my same friend who painted the book cover. She does all my graphics and I do like some stuff on Canva, but I wanted to do something really popping for the sponsored ad. And I showed her something I had at first, and she was like, no, Kieran, we need to do it a little more fancy to get people attention. So she did this video that everyone saw with the sponsored ad, and it was just amazing. And even since then, I think I told you this, even other poets reached out to me. They were like, how do you do your marketing? They're like, we're so inspired. And I was so humbled by that. And like I like my blessings. So like everyone who asks, I just forward them her contact, I forward them the emails from the Express. I'm like, I have nothing to lose in like sharing this with other people because I know how hard it is as an author. And then there's another poet, I forgot to mention his name. I sent it to him and then he got featured. So I was so proud of him. And it's cool to build a community. And I remember someone said, another author said to me, she likes to share her blessing. And that's how I feel as well. So I always keep that line. I was like, I don't need to hold everything to myself. I don't think it would lessen my shine if I give other people these contacts to get themselves out there as well. So that's kind of like in a nutshell how my marketing has been
I
so
love
far.
it. And because what stood out to me when I knew we were a great fit was when I heard that you were giving away two of your books.
Right.
Because and now listening to your story in detail, I'm like, this is great because you didn't
Yeah.
rely on just yourself to go and do
Yeah.
everything. You hired
Yeah.
your PR person, you hired a
Yeah.
graphic designer. These are all marketing fields. You
Yeah.
actually reached out to different people. I love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
Thank
But I don't
you.
want to take up too much time today, Karen. We have to have you back on. You have to come
Of
and
course,
teach
I
us all
will.
about Amazon and doing it
Yeah,
on
I
Amazon
will.
because we have a lot of local authors and you meet up with them to get the book and but we
Yeah,
have to get our work out there to the
for
global
sure.
community. There are a lot of Chinese abroad that need
Yeah,
to hear
I'd
our
I'd be
stories.
happy to. Yeah.
Yeah, younger voices.
Yeah,
And so we're going to move on. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm serious about that. We need to have you back on,
I will
especially to
back.
talk a bit more about your Amazon journey.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. I hope you kindly stay on and we are just going to share your work. We've divided up the work amongst ourselves, Poetry and Prose members, and we're going to be reading your work today. So thank you for allowing us this opportunity. And we're going to start with Harry Charan. Harry Charan will be reading for us today, A Dog Called Ginger.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for having me on the program again. I am going to read a poem called A Dog Called Ginger by Keeron Isaac. So here we go. The most loving, mischievous, energetic, intelligent, manipulative, sophisticated, but well-trained dog I've ever known. A self-proclaimed designer, she makes the yard her own. Felt cute, might destroy the yard later, I don't really know. But whatever I do, I'll certainly put on a show. So tonight, come on down, looks like dinner for two. The best dog chow on the planet, and for dessert, a side of my shoe. Beverage, a bowl of refreshing, sparkling hose water. Only the best for my four-legged daughter. When she is done, she'll await her usual pat on the head. Failure to do so, it's like leaving her on red. The most punctual, on time, prompt, never late for dinner. Food snob of a dog anyone could ever own. A self-proclaimed food connoisseur, she definitely makes her reviews known. Her mealtime is 6:30. Don't you ever be late. If you're not on time, you'll hear a knock on the gate. But for her, that's like ringing the waiter's bell. This is something we have grown to tell. I give her the command to stay, but she would much rather stay easy, breezy, beautiful cover dog. Pauses the photo shoot to chase a frog, leaving a trail of fur everywhere. The yard is now marked by her golden dog hair. Our world forever changed the day she walked into our lives. Making our days happier is honestly all that she strives. She's become such an integral part of our world. With her everyday's new adventure as we watch her story unfold. And that's it, folks. That's the end of a beautiful poem by our poet of the month, Keeron Isaac. I think it's a very beautiful poem, but commenting, or maybe I shall add one more thing to the poem, in my own way, in my own opinion, that if you want loyalty, 12 to 14 years of loyalty, get a dog, buy a dog, or thief a dog. The most loyal critter on this planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. And I love that.
I love that.
If there are no other comments, I would love to introduce Leslie Ann. She'll be reading That's What Beauty Queens Do, and it have bush tea for that. Leslie Ann, thank you for joining us today.
Good afternoon, my pleasure. That's what beauty queens do. Janelle Penny Commission became the first Black woman to win the Miss Universe crown, instantly cementing herself in history and having a street named after her in the nation's capital town. Her desire for it to be the cleanest street and for Port of Spain to echo those sentiments too made me stop and think that's certainly what beauty queens do. Wendy Fitzwilliam won the Miss Universe title in 1998 and remains one of our most prominent winners to date. I had the privilege of meeting her at a school prize-giving ceremony, I beckoned for this graceful beauty queen to take a photo with me. When she motioned for everyone to join in the photograph too, I chuckled to myself and thought, that's what beauty queens do. 2008 Miss World's second runner-up was our beloved Gabrielle Walcott. Beauty with a Purpose was another title she got. Championing the fight against childhood cancer and raising over 100K too made me proud to say that's certainly what beauty queens do. More recently, our 2019 Miss World Caribbean, Tajane Remy, a netball and saxophone playing alumni of Bishop Anstey. She never forgets her passion for social work, her community, and the family she was born into. I delighted in knowing that's what beauty queens do. And next, it have bush tea for that. Tying bush good for when you get bellyache, like when you eat too much aloo with chutney and fried beef. Shadow Benny tea good for hypertension. Definitely something I should mention. And orange peel tea good for gas. High pressure problems, try needle grass. For colds, lemongrass tea and honeysuckle. Saffron tea for operation recovery. And if you damage your knuckle. Vervine for headaches, urinary problems, and insomnia. Tarragon for cooking wild meat, like when you're cooking currying iguana. The cancer bush growing on your fence, real good for kidney stones. St. John brings cooling down to your bones, right down to your bones. Candle bush good for weight loss in females. Plantain good for eyes, rinse it every morning is all it entails. Clover and wild clove will help fix your prostate. These are all the bush teas I've collected to date. Can't remember all the names? There's tea for that too. Give me a call and I'll jot it down for you. Thank you, Mr. Isaac, for the privileged, wonderful poems. I appreciate that you said Bishop Anstey and not Bishop's Anstey. And definitely going to call you for the rest of the bush tea remedies. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much. I love it.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments? I love it. I love the bush tea poem because I feel like that's part of our culture that we're really losing quickly. And there's one book I saw that had little homemade remedies for certain things, but to have it incorporated in our literature, it's really nice to hear. Any other comments on the two pieces?
I particularly like the way that Keeron chooses, everyday subjects, that weave his poems around. It's refreshing that we use these everyday subjects. And then, as an older person who liked the poetry of yesterday, I must commend him for his rhyming because I love rhymes. Thank you.
Yes, Mutilal, when I
Thanks so
first
much.
read his pieces, I thought of you with that.
Yeah, I love a good rhyme too, so I appreciate that.
Okay, we're going to move ahead to Cassie. Sir Cassie, he will be reading for us today. I Am Jazz, Drop Me at the Disco, and Fighting with the World. Cassie, the floor is yours, sir. Hi, Cassie.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay. I hope you are hearing the flautist in the background. Are you? Hello? Hello?
Just a bit. It's a bit low. I don't know if the others are hearing it. I wasn't hearing it until you mentioned it. Do you want to start it again?
No, it's okay.
I am hearing. I'm hearing.
Right. So I am reading. First of all, I am very intrigued by by Keeron Isaac's work. I listened intensely at the interview and learned a lot about your journey and what you were up against, and the number of people who were for you on your side, urging you on to do the things that you have done. Just by a small way of comparison, I don't really promote myself much, so Gersha would know, so that I don't find myself promoting myself up on pages and that sort of stuff. But it certainly helps, when we are young, at your age, Keeron, and it certainly helps for us to build ourselves and to more importantly, to keep on writing so that it improves with time, so that by the time you reach my age, you have a sense of being a poet, so to speak. So I'm going to read your poems here. The first is titled, I Am Jazz. I am saxophone, unappreciated and unknown. Trying to find my way is just a typical day. One shouted, boring. I replied, learning to live with people like you. People like gum underneath your shoes, latching on and holding you back, making every step forward more like a step back. Stop living with that mentality, young man. Jazz deserves more credit all over the land. I'm not saying that it's the best or that it's the worst, but that it's the musical style I'm passionate about the most. Life's a ballad. I knew you would trouble, said I to the star, but all he could do was sit back and laugh. I came to the realization that I'd have to cross this bridge alone and chart my course into the unknown. Here I learned that I was versed in many a thing. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Give me an intro, more like an outro. Jazz is so retro. I heard an echo. I am electro. No need to fret. I won't be back. So in that poem there, I must say that you made a very good effort there in including a lot of the musical terms, in a different way. Where you talked about the bridge and the staff and the trouble. You were in trouble, I see. I knew you were in trouble. I said to the staff, making a very good attempt to include some of the musical terms into the poem. So that's that one. Give me an intro, more like an outro. All right, so let me stop the music there and get back to your work again. The second poem is called, I think it's called Drop Me Off at the Disco. I said, I am jazz. They said, you need more pizzazz. Reminded of lonely days being left at the music shop, sitting next to my friend, the bassoon, wishing someone would just fly me to the moon, covered in dust, rust. No, we were quite robust. Our motto, being bought is a must. No one wanted to buy a trumpet, a trombone, or even a double bass. Sadly, that was the case, trying to find our place in a world where we were ostracized, barely even recognized. We represented freedom, identity, a break from slavery, liberation, no more frustration, but simply recognition that jazz is life. We are jazz. I am jazz. You are jazz. Me? Yes, you. For jazz embodies a break from monotony. As we show our true anatomy, we bring our repertoire a break from ethnicity, pure authenticity. This is who we are. This is who you are. So at the end of it all, I have another poem to read, but at the end of it all, there is a few things I want to ask about, but just one I will use here. So Keeron, to keep in mind, if you can help me out, in terms of the motto, being bought is a must. I want to ask about that. Our motto, being born is a must. It's a line in that poem, dropped me off at the disco. And the final poem that I've been asked to read from you, Keeron, is called Fighting with the Wind. Fighting with the wind. Mother always told me to never fight with the wind. She said, you'll never be the victor. You'll only rescind. But the wind was my enemy and I developed a royal grudge. I twisted and I turned, but was intercepted by mother's nudge. My mother said, son, the wind will guide you. The wind will direct you. The wind will even redirect you, but it cannot control you. So I've learned to never challenge the wind as it takes its discourse. For those who have done so, have only counted it a lot. The end. Thank you very much for gracing us with those 3 pieces, Keeron. And I want to wish you all the best as you continue to write and become whatever you want to be in the world, in this world, and be of benefit to many others. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
So Cassie, you had a question about the line in the poem?
Yes. The question is, there's a line that says, our motto. I think our refers to the instruments there. We must, to be bought is a must. Let me see if I could bring it back up here. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, I remember that line. So,
Yeah.
so you wanted to know what was the meaning behind that line?
Yeah. What's the relevance and what's it referring to? Actually, yeah.
Right. So I was I was personifying the jazz instrument because when I was the jazz instruments in the store.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
So
what I thought. Yeah.
So I was giving them that personified feel whereby they probably felt like they were being overlooked, and maybe people wanted all the other instruments which seemed quote unquote normal. So I was just saying that their motto being bought was a must, was like it was their goal. They wanted people to include them and to make them feel wanted. So it's kind of like to make it empathize with the jazz instruments who were going through that struggle of feeling secluded in that world.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Learning what I know now, Keeron, about your journey, it almost seems as though you were speaking about, being successful in your objectives in life.
Right. Yeah, I like that. I like that analysis as well. Yeah, that's a good analysis as well. Yeah.
Any other comments? I saw that there are a few in the chats. Mutilal was hearing the music. Cassie, he said that it was love the background music. Great addition, Cassie. Lovely, Cassie. I love the fact that you included that as well. And Leslie Ann commented, lovely pieces.
Yeah. Actually, I have a friend who every day he sends something, a good morning wish sort of. And this morning he sent that piece of jazz for me. So he sends the music, or he might send nature, flowers and stuff, animals and stuff. But this morning he sent that jazz, and I thought it was very kind of coincidental. It would be a nice addition to
the stars
the
aligned.
piece. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lovely. We will move on to Shahira. Shahira,
Hey,
hi. Welcome. Thank you for reading today. Shahira will be reading Readjusting Your Sails, and it glittered. Too bad it wasn't gold. You have the floor, my dear.
yes, so today I will be reading Readjusting Your Sails, and it's glittered. Too bad it wasn't gold. Let's begin. Readjusting your sails. Life is about adjusting your sails. Gotta keep it moving, riding the flow, whether it's head or tails. Move with the tide or get lost at sea. I know this too well, for it happened to me. I mapped out my life, thought I'd figured it out. That's when life made a complete roundabout. I had chartered a course into the unknown. Didn't go as planned. I had to make it my own. Tested flexibility like I was Simone Biles. Opened my cabinet, rearranged my records and files. They say the only constant in life is change. Shakes you to your core, a total rearrange. Life comes at you quick, makes you relinquish your power. Take it day by day, not by the second or the hour. So that's my first poem, which is written by Keeron Isaac. And here I move on to the second poem, also written by him. It glittered. Too bad it wasn't gold. Shimmering, shining, glistening. To the words of their mouth, we are listening. Listening, dissecting, rejecting, accepting the things that we see and the things we should heed. Bedazzled, metallic, brilliant in appearance. Sail on aisle 4, let's have a clearance. A clearance of the ones who distracted us, of the ones whose shimmer beset us, the ones whose appearance had us fooled. They had us for a second, but we won't be ruled. Now, trained gemologists, we stand as we inspect the gold and gemstones within our hand. We release the inauthentic from our hold. They glittered. Too bad they weren't gold. Drop in love. That sudden realization, that loss of palpitation, that unnecessary cessation of cognitive recognition, mixed with jubilation, but somewhat hesitation, a total misdirection, sometimes redirection. I've always heard that they said one eventually falls in love. So airy, so fairy, a graceful incandescence. But for me, it was different. It was more like a thud, more like a booming. It was a resounding drop in love. And that's the end of the second poem. And that's it for me on today's episode of Poetry and Prose. I would like to say that these poems are very well written and everything is basically rhyming. I love it.
Thanks
Thank
so much. I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing and thank you for reading. It was a lovely reading. I love your rendition of
Thanks.
the work. We're going to go ahead and introduce Randy. Randy, but before I do, I'm
Ma-
going to hand over to Mutilal for the next half of our session.
okay,
So
thank you.
it was lovely giving the interview and being here. I'm still here, but I'll be in the background. Randy will be reading Balloon Envy and Following My Shadow. Andy's a talented writer. And Andy, I can't wait to read your work coming out as well.
Okay,
Thanks for being here today.
thank you, Gusha. You know, Gusha, she's going back to work. She has to work. And she always tries her best to attend all of our shows. I want to say one thing about that poem there that the both poems that Shakira read, Readjusting Your Sails. And that is so important. And a very important example is our author, Keeron, who had to take time off from his medical studies and readjust his sails to give us these lovely poems. So that is something that we all do. I myself, after I retired from a lifetime of working in engineering, started to write short stories. So I could fully identify with readjusting the sails. And now we have Randy to read Balloon Envy and Following My Shadow. Randy, comment. Randy, are you there? Okay. Maybe Randy just stepped out a bit. So we will continue with Natasha, our stage manager, who will do 3 directions, North Boy and South Girl, and North Boy goes to Tobago for fried fish. I can not wait to hear these local pieces. Okay, Natasha, the stage is yours.
Thank you. All right, it's my pleasure to read Trini Directions by Mr. Isaac. If you can't tell me, turn down so, go left, turn right, past the fig tree, and look for the black house that actually pink and have a set of dogs, then I don't want it. Don't play scholar with me and tell me about turn east and make a drive perpendicular. No, I don't want it. Trini directions not supposed to make sense. If the delivery guy don't get lost 3 times, it not making sense. If you ain't send your friend on a tour around Trinidad, just for him to find you on the street right next to where he living, you air doing it right and you air making sense. One thing I love about our people is our sense of direction or very lack of it thereof. A lady tell me the walk to the beach is a nice 5-minute stroll, but I end up seeing some fellas playing golf, more land, more estate, no sign of the sea was a whole new journey that plagueth me. When the sea bath was eventually over and the sun had left the dome, you don't know who had to call a taxi to go back home. Arriving back at home, she asked, how I enjoyed the stroll. Oh, quite lovely indeed, I replied as I breathlessly ran to my water boom. And that was Trini Directions by
I love
Mr.
it.
I loved
I
reading it.
love
That was just
I love your
brilliant.
energy and everything. I love the life you brought to it.
Oh my God. You watch me. It starts with a brilliant piece of work. All right. The work is what
Thank
I
you,
try to
thank
bring to
you.
life. If it wasn't on the page, I couldn't bring it to the stage. All right.
I love it.
So let me go with a North boy and a South girl. She see, she day on the porch eating a sapodilla. He asks if it does have them kind of thing in Marabella. She say, boy, thank God you kind of cute. But God, where you really find this youth? When they try to meet up, he say he don't know no way past Grand Bazaar. She say, boy, want to? Like you feel I live in Alcazar? He say, girl, so when you really coming to see me? She say, boy, if you want all of this, you had to meet me in C3. Me come up north, that is by the paper factory. Girl, I live in by the doctor that does deal with O faculty. Only thing I know up there is Trin City Mall. I don't know anywhere else at all, at all. Okay, well, how about you take the water taxi? Girl, all I know is Red Van Maxi. Go by the port, you can't go by the port, you can't live your whole life in the north, says the girl who didn't leave south since the mall had Westport. Well, it's a real good thing. I find you're cool. Make me a priority and don't be a fool. Let's meet up for roti, cause I don't eat for the day. Eat for the day and walk with some money because you know you have to pay. And that was
I love it.
North Boy and a South girl, not even girl, North Boy and a South girl.
Yeah.
We know how it does go. We know how it does go. All right. And it's my pleasure to read finally for y'all this evening. North Boy goes to Bagel for fry fish. I land to the enticing smells of the vendors' fresh sweets. As they tirelessly work, the wind blows their pleats. We have sugar cake, darling. You want nut cake too? If I don't buy this before I go home, I could get sued. Bellissimo Bouquet Hotel. That's where I book my stay. Then I make my trek to Englishman's Bay. After that, I head to picturesque Nylon Pool. And in the sea, shallow white coral display that will make you drool. You can't forget touring Boko Reef in a glass bottom boat, an extensive underwater barrier that is quite remote. When given the chance to go overboard, anxiety ridden me yelled, oh Lord, oh Lord. I returned to my hotel and head across the street for fry fish. It is so well seasoned. It's really a popular dish. There's so much to do. I really can't see. You just have to book a trip to Tobago one day. And that was North Boy Goes to Tobago for fry fish And Mr. Isaac, sir, I thank you for putting pen to paper and allowing us the opportunity to read your work.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed all the drama of it all.
My
I love the
pleasure.
presentation. It was fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. You know, Natasha is our #1 dramatist on poetry and prose, and she brings out the poem so well. You know, so thank you again, Natasha, and thank you, Isaac, for giving us that piece of work. Okay, now we have Randy Black. Randy is back, and Randy is reading Balloon Envy and Follow My Shadow. Come in, Randy.
Hi, everybody. Balloon envy. I've always envied balloons, grand and flighty, center of attention, like the moon, birthdays and New Year's and weddings and graduations. Balloons are always the midpoint of a plethora of celebrations. I envied their buoyancy, their lack of philosophy, gold, silver, yellow, pink, and black, helium, air streamers, pumped, all intact. Yet the balloon had its own realization, which he presented at a show. And the following is what I would eventually come to know. He said, "My child, you envy me and how I represent each new birth year. But after the celebration is over, I'm left in such despair. I'm deflated and popped. And just like that, I'm dropped, disposed and trampled, forgotten and forlorn. That's when I realized that I was wrong all along." He said, "I live in the memory, but the memory lives in you. A life so grand that I earnestly yearn to view. Eventually, I realized, and I had come to see, indeed, it turned out the balloon envied me." Thanks, Keeron. That's a wonderful poem.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
And the second one is called Following My Shadow. I followed my shadow, but only for a day. Very chatty guy. He had quite a lot to say. He reveled in his adventures and had many victories, and boasted about making his mark, forming numerous tributaries. He walked around with a great deal of confidence, listening to the women cry, "He resounds magnificence." I stared at my shadow and how he took the lead. My hope that one day he may eventually recede. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's my shadow. I
Thank
like
you,
it
Randy.
really.
Thank you, Randy, for that wonderful read. You know, I love the way that Keeron he handles all different types of subjects, such variety. So, Keeron, we really love having you here.
Thank you so much.
Our next reader is Vishnu Gosai, and he would be doing 2 pieces. Oh, go ahead, Randy.
Actually, I see one more. Disenchanted.
Okay, Randy, go ahead and we bring it afterwards.
There's a story of a boy who had become so disenchanted, felt like a life had taken him for granted, lost his spark like a child abandoned at the park. Searched for it in the lost and found, screamed aloud so someone could hear his sound. Little did he know that his spark was always within. Family and friends would help his clutter to rescind. Newfound perspective, remembered who he was meant to be. Then jubilantly, he marched for the whole wide world to see. Now this inward chant he carries, it floods the air and stifles his worries. a story of a boy who now regained his voice and lights the world around him like he doesn't have a choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Randy, for not for giving us that extra piece. It's nice that we didn't miss that out.
Okay.
But sometimes we all have to look inwards to really find our true selves. Now,
I had to look further down the page.
Okay, Randy. Well, even when we're looking inwards, we have to look deeply. Thank you. Okay, and now we have Vishnu Gosai, who Keeron, most of the people who are reading on this program are themselves authors and poets, So we have Vishnu here, who is an author and a poet, who would be reading your poem today.
Nice.
Now, Vishnu would do Familiar Stranger. And Keeron, I don't know if Vishnu, he used to teach English at high school. So I don't know if he also taught French. So maybe you can say the name of that other poem, Rito en Arriere, or something like that. Keeron?
Yeah. Rito in Oye.
Okay, Vishnu, floor is
Good.
yours.
Thanks for the help. Okay, so I'm reading that Rito and Arriere first. That's a longer one. Goo goo, gaga were the words on my lips. I smile as I reminisce on this particular life trip. I cried for my mama. I cried for my bottle. I wanted to know. This meant full throttle. Now the bills are on me and I've got to cook to survive. Do I just season with salt? Or do I add bird pepper and cider? How do you light the gas stove? And how do you get rid of the aftertaste of clove? Adulthood is so getter. Can I cancel my subscription? Do I budget for school fees or do I fix my television? Do I starve and buy that new shirt that's on sale? I'll look on Flick, but my stomach will wail. I wish I could rock on that chair with Grandma once more and walk into the mall where she got whatever I wanted from the toy store. No, I just walk in and touch two shirts. Y'all have this in Turkish brown? Knowing darn well no money in my wallet can be found. Those days of dependency are no more. Now it's about being mature and pretending to be demure. I'm not certain about much, but I know that for as long as I live, to my offspring these adventures, lessons, and stories I'll give. Yeah, I really like this one. Pretty entertaining though.
Thank you. I love the way you read it too.
Getting back to childhood days, my own days in Esperanza, but say what? Okay. Yeah.
Vishnu, that poem reminds me of something we used to learn in primary school. I suppose you might have come across that too. Backward, turn backward, put time in your flight. Make me a child again, just for tonight. Thank you. Go ahead, do the second reading.
Okay. So this one is a familiar stranger. I got a little bit of love story, it seems there. The pairing of strangeness and familiarity seems so counterintuitive, both mutually exclusive. One of them has to give as life would have it. It all changed when I met a familiar stranger and let my walls down. I heard myself cry, danger. Now the strangeness is no more and the familiarity grows. Got you down to a T. From your side to from your soul to your nose. The pairing of strangeness and familiarity I now find it less obscure because everything changed when you walk through that door. Everything changed when you walk through that door. Thank you, Mr. Isaac. I enjoy reading your poems. In fact, I find them pretty entertaining. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, brother. I enjoyed your interpretation and reading them. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Vishnu. You know, Isaac,
Hey,
Keeron, I always like to hear other people read my work. So I'm sure that you are feeling the same way that I feel. Okay,
Yeah,
moving along.
it's interesting and cool to hear the different perspectives and interpretations. It's really nice.
a
Okay,
different
so yes, because you know, in high school we used to hear about interpreting the poem that the
Yeah.
would give you a sense of what the poem is about. So thank you again, Vishnu. You certainly did a very good job. Okay, as we move along, we have Alisa Janki, and Alisa is another member of Poetry and Prose and a writer and poet in her own right. She's also a teacher at Naparima College. So now Alisa would read Rise, Brother, Rise and Wonder Woman. Come in, Alisa.
Hi, good afternoon. Could you all hear me?
Yes, Alicia, yeah. See and hear you loud and clear.
All right, okay. So I'll start with the first poem, Rise, Brothers, Rise. Until our sisters, daughters, mothers, and females can enter a taxi without fear of not safely reaching their destination, then we have all failed as men. While we face one pandemic, there is another pandemic that started long before. We search for a vaccine. For one, what will be a vaccine for the other? It should rip us to our core when we walk down the road and our sisters watch us with fear and trepidation for fear of becoming another statistic. Say her name, they say, but I say your name, my brothers. Remember who you are. Man was made to protect and uplift and care for the woman, to show empathy and compassion, and not find ways to destroy, invoke fear, and rob her of her soul. Rise, my brothers, for we are so much more than this. Look out for our sisters and create a world where mothers and fathers can lay their heads down to sleep, knowing the world is kind to their daughters. A great piece, and now I'm going to read Wonder Woman. Oh wonder of a woman, oh wonder of the obstacles she climbs, it leaves me to ponder. Incomparable beauty standards along with violence against women, relegated to monetary value. When will gender inequality end? However, she knows her worth, more precious than the stones of this earth. Resilient she stands as she carries the world in her hands. What a woman, what a wonder, oh wonder, oh wonder of a woman, oh wonder. Thank you very much, Keeron, for being able to read these thought-provoking pieces, and I hope you could permit me to make a comment. Sometimes you hear a lot of women discussing these issues, and then you hear men say, well, it's not really as big as you make of it, but I'm happy to see that a guy wrote about these things, because sometimes when we women speak out against it, it's like, She again. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. And it was really important for me because when it was going on, I felt like I didn't know what to do about it. And I guess as a writer, all you could do is write it. So I felt like this was my way of hopefully contributing to the narrative because I even saw like on social media, they weren't like, but I saw some men speaking up, but then there weren't a lot. So I wanted to add the voices of the men who were in proponents of, protecting our sisters. So I appreciate that you appreciate the sentiment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alicia, and thank you, Karen. And I know that that piece was most relevant, and I'm sure that we will have, especially the ladies, comment on this because I am reminded of a story that Alisa wrote sometime earlier, and we did it at the David Library. And when she talked about how she was harassed going to work on High Street and sometimes in Port of Spain. So I'm sure that there are some comments that the audience would like to make. So I'll leave this open for a while. Thank you. Okay, well, if there are no comments, we'll just move on. And now I want to bring on Diana, one of our younger members and a poet in her own right. And Diana would read Olga and Auntie Elsie. Diana, come in, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to read today. Olga. Nobody could make curry goat like my grandmother, a woman like no other. God rest her beautiful soul, more precious than diamond and gold. Humble and kind, yet speaking her mind. Gracious and pretty, lover of her family and fun just like me. Now in her memory she Now in memory she lives, her spirit and legacy gives us life, gives us hope. Hope that one day we shall meet again, up over yonder, that beautiful terrain. Okay, that was the first poem. Excuse me, just 1 second. Apologies about that. The second poem is Auntie Elsie. A generous woman who lived behind my primary school. Childhood memories with her forever etched in my memory pool. I told her one day, along with my mom, she'll walk me down the aisle. She reminds me of this while wearing her crescendoed smile. Her sons and loved ones have unofficially become family, all lovers of life and laughter and people just like me. Nobody could beat her when it comes to making Morby coconut bacon saltfish. When she sends for me, I hide it from my family because it will diminish my forever supply of mangoes for making Julie mango chow. If I see her in church, is hugs and laughter all now. I wish that everyone could experience the spirit and love shared by Aunt Elsie. You you couldn't count it a bless. You could count it a blessing to be as fortunate as me. Okay, thank you for the opportunity to read those two lovely poems. And I imagine both are about very wonderful and powerful women in your life.
Thank you so much. Yes, they are. So, this is my grandmother who passed away. She was also a poet. And then Auntie Elsie, she's kind of like my next mom. Two special people in my life. I appreciated you reading them.
Thank you, Diana. And thank you, Karen, for giving us those poems to read. Anybody want to comment on those poems? Okay, because for people who follow my page and listen to my stories, they would know that I write a lot about my grandmother, and I actually I patterned my storytelling as how she used to. So I owe a lot to my grandmother too, and I lovely to see that, you know, that we are paying tributes not only to our own grandmothers, but to grandmothers and mothers and aunties all over the world. Okay, coming up next, we have Zorina Shah, who will read Savannah Grass, Buffalipso, and Roti and Jesus. Okay, let's spotlight Zorina, please. Zorina, are you there?
Yes. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you. Yes,
Right.
and we're seeing you too.
Right. So greetings to all of you, and Keeron with his very engaging smile. It distracted me a little bit from the interview, but I'll see it on the recording. Yeah. So the first one I'm doing is Savannah Grass. I've never heard a song that invokes such patriotism. With a roar and a shout, it awakes our tribalism. It encapsulates the history of the savannah, once known as the Pesce Plantation, a sugarcane and burial ground, now a site of resplendent celebratory amalgamation. Oh, the numerous stories of Trinis who now reside overseas. Hearing this song gets them weak in the knees. There was a particular Trini who had to miss Carnival, but when she heard this song, it didn't matter at all. Notwithstanding the song's special connection to the singer's late father, a memory immortalized through poignant lyrics of his son, Kez Defentala. Described as a crown jewel, this song shines in its showcase. Savannah grass in everyone's heart finds a place. And the note at the bottom is that this poem pays homage to Savannah Grass by Kez Deban, winner of the Trinidad and Tobago 2019 Calypso of the Year title. I actually knew Kez's father, Bonnie Defentala. We played horses together, English and local horses. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. The second one is Buffalipso. I am Buffalipso, and my name suggests I should audition for Digital Rising Star. Genetically an embodiment of the song Trini to the Bone, performed by David Rudder. You guessed it. My name, a mix between Buffalo and Calypso. A strange mix between beast of burden and a musical genre I love for so. Developed by Trinidadian veterinarian Stephen Bennett in the early 1960s. Now making my mark around the world for my resilience and contribution to mozzarella cheese. I'm built upon the heartiest of Indian water buffaloes. Now my skin is impenetrable to parasite and makes good leather clothes. My milk and my meat, both of exceptional quality, now takes me to places around the world like Aruba and Italy. Put some respect on my name. Give Stephen his credit for changing the game. I am Buffalipso, far superior to the bulls that have come before. If you think you don't know me, I may already be at your front door. So I also have to say that I also knew Dr. Bennett. He lived at Brian's Gate next to the Pandays, Birthday Panday. He and his brother and sister. And while I worked at Old Trinidad Sugar, I saw them often, both through the union and Caroni Limited. And we call them three giants.
That's
they
so
were
cool.
tall, So we call them giants. Right.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah. And the third one is Roti and Jesus. This one looks like a mix all of its own, eh? There are two things that bring me comfort, and that's roti and Jesus. One resides in my stomach, and one walks daily with us. Curried aloo, chicken, and pumpkin wrapped in a warm dal puri reminds of when God wrapped his loving arms around you and me. Jesus is always the answer, and so is roti too. One is the answer to life, the other, what to eat with aloo. I can't ever imagine myself getting tired of roti. And as for following Jesus, I'll never say I'm sorry. So I can't say I know these two, roti and Jesus, but I knew the first set of them. Thank you for letting me, thank you for giving me this opportunity to read these poems. And I hope Keeron thought I did justice to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it. And I also love the fact that you shared a connection to the pieces. Because I'm always big on giving people their flowers. So when I wrote about these people, I really had no intention to them like actually seeing the work. But my friend, he actually works in the music industry, so he got the poem on the cast. But I don't know if he actually got it. But I do know that I think he was on travel, but I think he has a copy of the book. I don't know if he saw it or there. But I just think it's cool that he actually has it. So, I mean, whether he responds or not, I'm just excited. And Stephen Bennett, I wasn't ever able to get onto his family, but I mean, I hope that one day he sleeps because I believe in giving people their flowers. So, it's so surreal that you actually had the connection to them. So it make the reading, I mean, I love the reading already, but it's cool that you also connect to them. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you. Oh, just one thing. I also met Dr. Bennett when I worked at Susuland, and he tried to sell us a parcel of land at Castara in Tobago.
Wow,
he and
that's so
Robinson
cool.
were very friendly. Yes.
Okay.
A&R
Nice.
Robinson, that is.
Nice.
Thanks again.
Of course, no problem. Yeah, when I was in school, I always found the name Buffalo to be so catchy. So it was something that always stuck with me. And then when I was writing, I was like, came back to me and I was like, I want to research this.
Yes,
And,
you did
I
some
just
research on it, man. So you had to do some work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Zorina. That was a awesome read. And that particular part about the Buffalo, because I always like that because Dr. Bennett was a South man.
Yes.
Like I am. And he has
Yeah,
stories.
long history of them supplying milk early o'clock to Napa in the teachers' college and thing. There's a long history of that.
And in addition to that, they say that normally they used to use the bulls and the bison work in the cane fields and all these sugar estates and all that. And Dr. Bennett, with his research, developed the Buffalo. It was a much more, how shall we put it, a much more robust and hardier worker for that. And there's a lot of history in that, and he got a lot of worldwide recognition for that thing about the Buffalo, And just a little aside, Zorina was talking about the milk. They say that if your stomach not strong enough, don't drink the Buffalo milk, drink cow milk, because the Buffalo milk might have you doing some running. Okay, thank you again.
I heard that too.
Okay, thank you.
I might have to update the poem.
As you grow older like me, all these little facts keep on coming back to you. Thank you, Keeron. Thank you, Zorina. That's an awesome read.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Okay, well, our next reader was supposed to be Harry Seeley, but Araceli was supposed to join us from, he's a regular on this program from Dominica, but apparently we have some problems here. But before I go to read the last piece, is Cassie still here? Cassie, are you still here?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, Cassie, you had asked that, that you said that you would like to read one of your own poems today. So I think that this is a good time. If you are ready, you can read that so that we can hear what you have planned for us today. Cassie?
Just now.
In the meantime, I'd like to welcome Dr. Frank Mohan from Canada. He has been with us for the last few meetings and he couldn't make it earlier, but we're still happy to have him here. Happy to have, we see some new names that I would expect you to be fans of Keeron. And welcome to my good friend Miranda. Okay, so Cassie, go ahead.
I'm not sure what I want to read. I think that it's been Keeron's day and time, and that the kind of variety that I'm hearing there. I wanted to continue in that vein. So let me not interject with anything from myself here. Let it be all Keeron on this very auspicious Sunday for him. Total respect, man. Love it all. Let's keep it like that.
Okay, thank you, Cassie. So now I will read Christmas 365. Okay, Christmas 365 by Keeron Isaac from the book Poet 3. I love that play on the words, eh? Poet 3.
Thank you.
Here goes. Oh, Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree. Why are you so complicated to set up? Tinsel and lights, decor and stars, and things bought at the shop. Don't put that there. Don't hang this here. Now suddenly the decorating stops. A disagreement here. This should be here. And tragically, the tree topper drops. Amidst all of this, we still agree that we cherish this time of year. It's a time for love, a time for laughter, a time for ones that we love dear. With a chow-chow here and a pastel there, here a turkey, there a drink, everywhere a black cake. We ready ourselves for the Christmas feast, because now our memories are at stake. Though some may argue, it's not really the month that Christ was born. I say, celebrate him still, because the world was changed on that blessed morn. Oh, how I wish that we would carry the love and the energy of Christmas 365. It's a holiday I love and will always cherish as long as I am alive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody want to comment? Anybody want to say anything? Please. As I was reading this poem, a thought that occurred to me when Zorina was reading Roti and Jesus. I just said to myself, roti in your stomach, roti in your belly, and Jesus in your heart. Let us keep it that way.
Man, I like it. I love it.
Okay, so we have come to the end of our readings. There are much more poems, but I didn't schedule that and we didn't send around to the thing because I thought that this would have taken us up to the 3 o'clock time. But we still have some time, and I have some people here who always with us, all our Keeron friends who joined us, all the people who are not regular, we thank them for being here. And today I'm going to put my good friend Cynthia M. Birch on a spot. I want Cynthia to give her her thoughts on what we had today. Cynthia, can you come in, please?
Yes, Motilal, but I'd have to apologize. I don't want to come on and with my video, but I certainly comment on this very exciting collection. It was really very gripping to hear, as Cassie said, the wide range of the topics that Keeron has covered. It's wonderful, really wonderful, and I know this collection will be very well received. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Cynthia. You know, I also want to comment on the local themes that Keeron has written on, and it's so good that we as local writers try to highlight local things, local themes. I'm sure that our stage manager, Natasha, who herself is a great theater practitioner, if to get her take and later on anybody else take on what we had today. Natasha, please.
Hi. Yes, I was just saying, Mr. Isaac, your work is at once familiar and organic and engaging, and I love it. And it just speaks to the Trini experience. It speaks to my soul, and it's so it's it feels effortless saying it, it feels effortless reading it, and you at once connect with the work that I thoroughly enjoy. So regardless of what you do in the medical field, keep writing, keep writing, keep writing, keep writing, please.
Thank you so much, and I really enjoyed all of your interpretations and readings. Thanks so much.
No problem, no problem. Anytime, anytime.
Okay, and we had Miranda Dukran, who manages our poetry and prose group in Tunapuna. And she made a comment earlier, she said in the comment section, she said it's a great representation of Trini culture. And I thoroughly agreed with Miranda. Miranda, you want to say something? If you're here, Miranda, yeah? Okay, it seems as if Miranda has left us. Okay, before we close this evening, is there any other comments? Maybe someone else.
Yes, maybe, yeah, perhaps. It would be nice if Keeron were to read one or two of his own pieces, for us as a parting gift. Let's hear his voice with his poems.
Definitely. It is remiss of me for not thinking of that. Thank you, Cassie. You always bring a little extra to our show. So, okay, Keeron, can you read at least 2 or 3 of your poems for us? You have been hearing us doing our interpretations. No, you share with us. Natasha, can you spotlight Keeron?
Okay, let me find one. Yes, I'll do proud product of Trinidad and Tobago. So this one, okay, so here goes. Every creed and race intercalated across the country's lands, where the red, white, and black permeates our nation's sands. From Arima all the way to Vesini, bordered by the Atlantic Ocean, Columbus Channel, Gulf of Paria, and Caribbean Sea. I trekked to Fullerton to see the serpent down south, then make my way past Chagaramas for the dragon's mouth. A flavor palette so enticing I wanted all. Sweets range from kurma and sugar cake to tamarind bowl. For lunch, I have some curry and a little pilau too. For dinner, I prepare breadfruit oil dum with fried fish and kuku. Musical genres range from soca, kaiso, chutney to calypso. The tune is the rhythm. Oh, how I love my country food. You know we love the cricket. It's all fuss when you hit the wicket. Then you get hit for six. And you play too much after school and come back home to lick. Predominantly known for the greatest show on earth, we're master storytellers. It's in our blood from birth. So much to learn, but this one thing I know. I'm forever a proud product of Trinidad and Tobago. So that one was proud product of Trinidad and Tobago. And this other one is called When Life Gives You Lemons, Season the Chicken. So I hope you guys will enjoy. If there's one thing you have to give a Trini, is their natural ability to lime. I've witnessed it happen time after time. Dad stand up in a long line chatting in the grocery. I said, Dad, where you know he from? He said, boy, that's the first time I see him. Matty bunks up Michelle at the doctor's office. You don't know another lime gone start in this edifice. Michelle, what you doing here, girl? Is sick, you sick? And here starts another story. This happened so quick. You wouldn't know that Matty here because she lose her voice. Because she healed out Michelle across the room like she don't have a choice. Umati and Anna going to complain to customer service, but see each other and forget to return the chalice. Instead, Umati tell Anna about her daughter who just got married, and Anna say how she son fall off the tree and bust up for it. Ole, I love my Trini's bad. I just love them real bad. And now anywhere we go, we just put on a show. So thank you.
I noticed too, Keeron, that your mommy is here with us.
Yeah, she joined. Yeah, that's my mom in the chat.
Right. Well, congratulations to you, mommy. Yeah, wonderful Sunday, making you proud, I'm sure. And even if you're not going to be speaking on the platform this afternoon, I know that your heart is filled with pride and wonderment, and wishing him all the best to continue. You have 3 books, I think. I don't know how many books you have, but could you show us the covers?
So I have one book out right now. So this is the first one. This is poetry.
Right.
And then I have a next one I'm trying to release before the end of the year. But I have some finalizing with my editor. It's about folklore and old marks and our explorational sites, our nature. I'm really excited. But because it's a little bit more about like folklore and history, I want to make sure I get it right. So I've been doing some calls to talk to some of our like people who portray old mask characters and that kind of thing. Because I want to share the stories properly. I'm really excited. I'm hoping that I could re-release before the end of the year. That'll be really exciting. And then once that goes to plan, I have a next one I'm working on. Hopefully before middle of next year. That'll be so I'm calling it the poetry trilogy. So that's the three books connected to each other. So really excited. And I feel like now I know what to do and I know the creative process. Which doesn't make it easier. It's still hard, but I'm just excited that I get to, use my gift. So I really appreciate it and thanks to everybody for being so kind. Really made my day. Hearing everybody and all the positive feedback is really encouraging. So I appreciate it a lot.
Well, I think that apart from the fact that you have thrilled us all and wowed us, amazed us with your work, and there's also that disarming smile that one has spoken about, but I'm sure others would have liked to mention also. And having you back would only make things better for those who want to be disarmed, as it were. So keep up the good work, Keeron. I'm signing off here. It's a pleasure having met you, and I'm sure that we will meet again along the poetry way. All the best, brother. Take care.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Blessings.
So I just wanted to say, in that first poem, you mentioned the village where I was born, Fullerton.
Nice.
So I have a lot of connection with your work.
Nice. I
Yes.
love it. Connections
I'm
all
looking.
around.
I don't know anybody who put Fullerton in a poem. They say Cedrus and Columbus Bay and thing, but you said Fullerton. I'm so pleased with that.
Wow. But that makes me happy, man. I'm happy to hear that. You
Yeah, you
connected
make
to
me
all
very
these.
happy. You did.
Thank you.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Because one of the striking aspect of Keeron's poems, you know, for one thing, they are in themselves narratives and stories that we can follow. And two is the local content. The local content that he does, the local subjects, the way he treats with them. And you know, sometimes people who start to write, you know, they have a tendency to go towards more foreign things and foreign themes. But Karen, I really love the local flavor, and thank you for being with us today because, and maybe sometimes, you know, we used to have this program live at the DB Library with a live audience. So sometimes we have to work with you and Gushan. I don't know if you know Fullerton, you're supposed to know David, yeah? Where are you from,
Yeah.
Karen?
Well, he
I'm
didn't
from
say David. He said Fullerton. It's how he reached us. Did you see how many of us he reached in the poems that were read this afternoon?
Yeah, exactly.
How
Because
he
of
reached us, how
this,
he, yeah,
because of the subjects he chose to
yeah,
write
he got
on,
into my place talking
got
about
into
things I know,
everybody's
and he doesn't even know
heart and
me.
mind.
Yeah, yeah, I
Well,
like that. I like how he reached me in a very real way.
yeah, so Keeron, I hope you know, we meet here every other week, and I hope you continue to join us, and that maybe one day you could come down. We could have you on a live program with a live audience. I mean, we have a live audience here, of course, but the topic
Yeah, in
to
person.
actually have the interface and the people clapping and cheering and so on. So it was
I
lovely
love
having
that.
you here. And I mean,
Yeah.
you see, the chat is full enough. I don't know everybody talking about you, but again, as I asked you there, you're from North or South?
I'm actually from North, I live in Rima, but I have a lot of South friends and family. So I feel like I'm connected to South.
Okay,
Yes,
well,
he spoke about the girl from Marabella as if he knows the place.
that
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yes, he did.
okay, so let's leave the floor open a while for comments from other people.
All right. Can I come in? Moti? Where Moti
I'm
gone?
hearing Krishna.
Hi, Krishna. Yes, you
Hi.
can.
Let us
Yeah.
let us spotlight Krishna. You know, I forgot to say that piece for Krishna.
Yeah, that is all right, Motis.
Okay, so
Just a couple things. Just a couple things. One, I was content to just rock back and listen to people read today. So that was nice. Moti, it doesn't matter if you didn't send, that's all right. Okay. Two, I commend, Cassie, I commend that gesture where you gave way like a parliamentarian. You gave way to Keeron. This is his day. Although Moti invited you to read, apparently you told him you wanted to read a piece. So that was nice, a nice gesture, Cassie. I commend that. The third thing I'd like to say is to you, Keeron. You're young. As you could see, I am old. All in the business of writing, and I have done poetry. What I want to people are responding lovely to your poetry and what you're saying in the poems and the topics, the wide variety of topics. Like when you talked about the woman and you talked about calypso and you talked about buffalipso and the dog called Ginger. the jazz, I am jazz, and the directions, and so on. Right? It's a variety of things. What I want to advise you, you talked about the Hardy Boys within the a number of them. What I want to advise you for your further development as a poet is to get hold of books dealing with poetry. If you're you're very serious about this medium, and there is one called Understanding Poetry. I don't know if you know of it. It's a nice book, and a better introduction to poetry is Song and Sense. If you could get hold of a copy of that, if you know of it, if you could get hold of a copy of that, Sound and Sense. It's a nice introduction to poetry and to the devices and so on. This would help your development. I'm saying it because I'm seeing things you're using like the I am jazz. That's a nice a start to a poem. Or I am Bocalypso. That's nice. And then you use the pun, the very title, poetry, right? Yoking the two terms, the two words together, lovely, as Motilal said he liked that. The use of paradox as in a familiar stranger, so you will meet a lot of devices which you will begin to understand, and you will see it coming into, you will make use of it in your poems for your development, I'm saying, right? The next thing, Moti, is just what Cassie had said. I noticed they are guests, and I would have liked if a couple of them could have made some kind of contribution. That is my contribution. Keeron, congratulations, sir, on your work. And the people who read, I enjoyed your readings. Of course, I have a very partial to Natasha. I can't help it. She really brings out the poems through her dramatic rendering, and that is, I suppose, what when you're reading a poem, you try to give it, be faithful, give it a faithful rendition. And I noticed Vishnu tried as well, and Zorina and others. There are others who, like Cassie, too, try to bring the poems alive. Natasha's line was, what? If you didn't write it on the page, I couldn't bring it on the stage. Lovely, lovely line. Lovely motto. Motto, girl.
Yeah.
Nice, lovely. Okay, thank you so much.
Could you remind me the name of the first book you mentioned? You said Song and Sense.
Understanding Poetry. I did that. We had to study that.
I'll post them both on the page.
Okay, you did?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I will.
All right, Gush. Thanks. Understanding Poetry by Brooks and Warren. Nice introduction to poetry, but the one I like the most is Sound and Sense.
Right. Thanks for all the advice. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Keeron, and the rest of you.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Lucia, are you back with us for a while?
I am here. I feel like I've missed a bit.
Okay, so we'll ask for any more comments, especially from the people who are not here regular, who are guests today, and after that, you could take us to the close. So I'm asking that some of the people who came on because it's Keeron's day today, if they would like to share with us. Floor is open.
Don't hear me?
Hi, Marcus. Yes, we are.
Hi. Well, I recently made acquaintance with Keeron about a month, you can say a month ago. Really, really nice young man, and he was able to assist me with my own publication. So I just want to say thanks and let you guys know, for those of you who don't know, he's a brilliant person in his writing and outside of his writing as well. Yeah. So just thumbs up on everything. Love the fact to see our fellow young man working in the arts, pushing with the arts and making poetry relevant again. Because poetry has tend to be everybody on novel writing and story writing, and they tend to forget poetry. But poetry is and supposed to always be respected. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on the old situation. Nice.
Appreciate that,
Thank you. I'm
bro.
sure
Thanks for
Cassie would
sharing.
love to hear that.
Appreciate that, bro. I'm excited for your journey as well, Marcus.
Okay, Gusha, take us through.
Lovely. Anyone else has anything to share?
Okay, I just see in the chat that Leslie-Ann posted that we would love to do some of this work on virtual story time. Leslie-Ann, you want to tell him about virtual story time?
And Mr. Isaac, wonderful pieces, so relatable. Thoroughly enjoyed it. To have virtual story time, we have our shows every Monday at 5 p.m. and we have different themes. So we read different pieces. Your pieces fall perfectly into comedy. So, you know, we will link with you a little further to Natasha and myself will link you with you further and we'll discuss because there's some family pieces. We have a bunch of themes coming up for the next year. So
Nice, man. That's
different pieces can fit into different themes and we'd love to have you work on the platform.
That's amazing. I'll be honored as always. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Karen, it
Okay.
was lovely having you. Oh, someone else wants
Yeah.
to share something.
Oh no, oh yes, yeah. I wanted just to add another invitation to Keeron. Well, I know, I think I've already sent him my email address and so on. And I think he'll be asked in many more areas to read and to perform and to charm us with his words and his poetry. So I look forward to lots of things happening, especially when he has his next book and so on. To continue in the good work, follow Krishna's advice, which I second very much. There's so much to be learned in poetry, and you are on the way. And your friend Marcus also there at your side, moving along. It's good to see that kind of development, that kind of camaraderie, and I support it fully. All the best.
Thanks, man. Blessings.
Thanks. One thing that stood out with me, I can't start my video right now because I'm sitting at my desk, but I hope it's okay. One thing that stood out with me was the support that you have and how you organized and structured your work and your delivery of the work. And I hope you add poetry and prose to your arsenal, because I think we are really a small grassroots group, but we really do have each other's back and cheer each other on as we go about our publishing journeys. And I feel that there's a wealth of information within the group. So I do hope you come back. And we've already have you carded to come back to talk about the Amazon process. And one thing I like about you is the fact that you would have already mentioned to me before we even had this meeting that you had people lined up already that you wanted to pass the torch on to. And that is so refreshing and lovely in this world that, you're willing to, you're not just, oh, well, I have this, I'm going to hold this contact, or I'm doing this. And no, nobody wants to leave a bookstore with just one book. I had a teacher when I was when I was going to school, she said, the school will never give out one degree, so help each other. And I love your spirit. That is a lovely spirit. You are welcome back. I can't wait for you to drop your second book. Yep, to get Keeron's book, we can go to Amazon, and of course, we ask you to support local bookstores as well. Do you know where it's located and which bookstores locally, Keeron?
Yes, there's a Jadu's Arima, Scribbles and Quills, Shigonas, Paper-Based Bookshop, Normandy Hotel, and then Academics Plus in Keeron. So that's the four bookstores. Yeah.
Lovely. So
And
support
then
our local
me
bookstores.
directly. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can always reach out, and that's something that we have coming up. Just brainstorming how to go about it with Christmas coming up and getting everyone's books out there. We're going to try to feature our authors and the books that they have published if once they have it in stock to sell for the Christmas goodie bags. So
What is the Shagonas vendor's name?
Scribbles and Quills, as in I believe Lounge Park, Shigona.
they're on Gaston Street, Cassie.
Scribbles
and Quills.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks a lot, Bishop. And
No
Keeron.
worries.
Thank you.
And they have an event coming up as well.
Yeah, the Christmas market.
Yeah, they have a
market.
Christmas market coming up. So
okay, I'll check
if
it out
you're
on Google.
interested, check them out on Facebook. I can always link their page on our page.
Yeah,
They're
that'll be
so
nice.
supportive of local authors. They were the first bookstore to take my book, which meant a lot. So that was
And I've seen
Yeah.
Miranda's books there as well.
nice.
So yeah, they really are supportive of local authors, and we really appreciate that. Metropolitan in, I don't know, I think they moved, but they were in Port of Spain. They support local authors as well too. So, all righty.
Yeah.
Well,
And yeah, he could. I hope he has sold his book to Nallis already. I hope Nallis bought 1,000 copies, and that he will be listed as a first time.
well, Cassie, he'll have to talk to you about that. Hi.
Okay. All right. Great.
Yes. Yes. Please give Cassie will fill you in on that information on how to go about getting listed and things like that. All right, because
Right.
once you've written a book, you're Trinidadian, I believe it's an annual event. They honor first-time authors.
Oh yeah, I was at that. That was fun. Yeah, I was at that event.
Lovely, lovely.
Yeah.
All righty, well, I would love to bring the program to a close. Thank you so much for being with us. We are honored to have you. It was a joy to hear your work. And Mutilal, thank you for co-hosting with me. I hope we played off of each other well. It was lovely to have you do half of it. And for everyone that visited, we meet twice a month, every other week at the same Zoom address, Poetry and Prose. There are weeks when we try to feature an author every month, and the other weeks we leave open for our open mic and feedback and sharing of our work. So please feel free to pop in when you want a bit of local culture. And Keeron, we are looking forward to seeing great things from you. Thank you so much for spending the afternoon with us. Thank
Thanks
you
so much
all.
for having me. Yeah.
My pleasure. And as always, Natasha, you are the backbone of Poetry and Prose where IT is concerned. Our lovely stage manager. Thank you so much for all your work. Have a great one.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. Take care, everyone.